Welcome back, 5th through 6th grade. We're going to start off where we left off last week, and we're going to do a quick review, and then we're going to show you the difference. I'm going to show you the difference between an essay and a paragraph, but we're also going to talk about the similarities. There is some crossover, some things that are the same. So let's review that a 5-paragraph essay starts with an introductory paragraph. In this introductory paragraph, you have a topic sentence at the beginning, and then you're going to have your thesis closing out the paragraph. Then the very first sentence of your next paragraph will be your first point, and that will be the body paragraph, body 1. It will be followed by the very first sentence of the next paragraph, the topic sentence of point 2. And then it will be followed by the third paragraph, and the first sentence will be the topic sentence of that paragraph. And then your last paragraph is the conclusion, and the very first sentence of the conclusion will be a restatement of your initial thesis. So I'm going to illustrate this by showing you a 5-paragraph essay down the road. But for now, I just want you to make sure you have this memorized. And again, we call this the funnel method because it looks a little bit like a funnel. Now, one of the things that came up with my students this week is some confusion. You were supposed to also have a revision of your paragraph, and one of the suggested topics I gave you that we brainstormed was the perks of homeschooling. So what we did, and what I'd like to do now, is we took our brainstorming and we created a short paragraph together. Now notice, this is not a 5-paragraph essay. This is 1 paragraph. But there is a similarity in that it does have a clear topic sentence. But when you're writing a 1 paragraph, we would call this like an expository paragraph, your thesis and your topic sentence are the same thing. So I might refer to this as your topic sentence, but I also might refer to it as your thesis because when you have 1 paragraph, they are one and the same. So I wanted to make sure and clarify that. Now here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to show you with color how this is organized, because one of the things that keeps good students, that separates good students from average students, is your organization within a paragraph and your organization within an essay. These are things that you have to really practice, but you need to understand how this works. So we're going to start off, we're going to look at our title. Notice we follow capitalization rules for our title. The first and last word is always capitalized, and any other important words, but then prepositions and words, articles, a, and the, are not capitalized, and small prepositions, actually it might be all prepositions. So we have a short title, but it is appropriate, it matches our topic, and then we have our thesis. Homeschooling has many perks. Now, one thing you want to remember, one of the things we always try to aim for, is that the subject of our thesis is the subject of our paper. So the subject here is homeschooling. The subject could also be the perks of homeschooling. But then that would change our verb, of course. But homeschooling's fine here. Notice we tried to avoid be verbs for our main thesis verb. And we have a good, strong verb here. Homeschooling has. And then we spend the rest of the sentence telling you, in general, what it has. It has many perks. So that tells us the direction we're going. We're going with a positive spin on it here. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to highlight all of my main points. Okay? I'm going to do it starting with blue. It allows flexibility. My next point is homeschooling also allows creativity. I'm going to go to the next one. Homeschooling may increase productivity. Let's see here. Lastly, homeschooling promotes positivity. I think I'm going to change the color of my thesis just so we keep it distinct. So I'm going to make this purple. Okay, so that's our thesis. All right. Now, so just by the colors alone, you can tell that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So I'm going to create my outline over here. Now, normally you start with your outline, but we're just assessing it based on how it's organized. So we have our thesis, which is homeschooling has many perks. I'm just going to shorten it here. Okay. Then my main point would be, if I were writing it in complete sentences, which I should, it would be it allows flexibility, but I'm going to shorten it here for sake of space. Okay, my second point would be it allows for creativity. My third point is it increases productivity. And my fourth point, is it promotes positivity. Now, did you notice what we did there? We kept it very parallel. All of our points match. We decided to do all itties. But notice also, homeschooling remained the subject of our main points. It is a pronoun for homeschooling. Notice all of our verbs are strong. Allows, also allows, may increase, and promotes. And then each of them ends with a different bucket or a different drawer. Each of these is a different aspect, a different perk of homeschooling. Now, it's very easy for writers to actually put the wrong things in the wrong drawers. I think of them as like sock drawers. So, for instance, if flexibility is our striped sock drawer, then I don't want to put any polka dot socks in this drawer. Or maybe we have a drawer for our athletic socks and our drawer for our dressy socks and a drawer for our funny socks, and then a drawer for our sleeping, fuzzy, walk around the house socks. It's very important to put the right socks in the right drawer. And the same thing goes here. But sometimes writers just happen to drop an interesting fact in the wrong drawer. So we're going to show you how this is organized. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to show you. First, we start with it allows flexibility. Everything after that, until we get to our next point, is going to talk about flexibility. We're going to give examples, opinions, illustrations, just like we talked about in our session a couple weeks ago. So let's read through it. For example, a student could wake up early and finish school by lunchtime and have the rest of the day to play. That talks about flexibility. Or a student could spend a day on a fun errand or adventure and then finish school after dinner. Also, this is an example of flexibility in schedule. Additionally, a student doesn't have to follow a standard schedule for doing school every day. He or she could take off a day here or there to do school year-round and take off whenever it is convenient. All of these were examples of flexibility. Let's go to our next example, which, by the way, I should probably keep these matching, right? So if I were listing my outline again, I would have A, wake up early, B, fun adventure, postponing school. Now again, I would encourage you to do complete sentences. I'm just doing abbreviated. Or standard school year. This certainly could be written a little more clearly over here, but we're not editing it right now. We're just getting our outline, our organization down. Okay, so we got our points there, and those are all illustrated up here. Now let's go to creativity. All right, now homeschooling allows creativity. Every single sentence from that point on is going to be about creativity. Let's read. A student has the time and the resources to explore his or her favorite subjects or hobbies. He can deep dive into projects or spend hours developing a new hobby. So we could probably add some more examples there for creativity. But for now, we're going to list off A, time and resources for creativity, and deep dive. All right, our next topic is productivity. Again, we wrote this on the fly, so this has not been edited yet, but this is a good start. Okay. Everything from here until the next point should be about productivity. Not only does the student have less distractions and more time, which kind of refers back to that one, but it's a transition because it says no more distractions. He or she also has an environment that can be tailored to the student's learning style, because both less distractions and more time will increase productivity, right? If a student learns best with music, he or she can listen with headphones or from speakers. If a student prefers learning outside while moving, he or she can. A student can read with a cat curled on her lap and a hot chocolate by her side. Ooh, doesn't that sound so fun? So all of these are about productivity. What makes a student accomplish more is an environment that's conducive to their learning style. And then lastly, our last point is about positivity. And everything from here until here will be about positivity if it's organized correctly. Let's see. Instead of being in a room with peers and having to deal with typical peer pressure such as bullying, cliques, social awkwardness, and bad influence, students are surrounded by their families, their biggest cheerleaders. The people closest to them are intent on their success and will ensure support and the means to do the things they should. So it doesn't have to say positivity. You could have called this, we could keep the same bucket, the same sock drawers, but we could even rename it. We could call this homeschooling allows a flexible schedule and environment. We could say it allows for tailoring instead of creativity, and we could say it increases their output instead of productivity, and we could say they have it functions with a good support system instead of positivity. So there are different ways to do this. This is just how we chose to do it. But I hope you see, this is not a perfect paragraph, but I hope you see how organized it is. Before you really edit how a sentence is written, and you might want to improve, there's some redundancies in here. There's some things that could have been said more clearly. And of course, I can criticize this. This is my own writing. We wrote it on the fly. But the thing that is, the thing I really want to draw your attention to is the organization. Your writing has to be organized before you can really hone it and craft it and edit it, make it polished and powerful. So if your writing isn't organized, you can't even get to the other things. And of course, we would end this with a restatement of the thesis. Homeschooling has many perks. You could say, because of these reasons, homeschooling should be a sought-after option, or something like that. Now notice, couple other things that we've been working on. One, I didn't use any contractions. I didn't use any you or me pronouns. That's second person and first person pronouns. I tried to stay away from idioms. I may have slipped one in there, but mostly I did not use idioms or jargon or cliches. We try to stay away from those. We try to keep it formal and organized. All right, so I hope that helps you see what I'm looking for in a paragraph. Now, if we were to transition this to an essay, it'd actually be very easy. The change would be that I would start with an introductory paragraph that maybe was generally about education. And then what I would do is my last sentence would be something about homeschooling having many perks. So it may sound something like this. It may say, today in America, there are lots of education options. We have charter schools, private schools, public schools, Christian schools, university-style schools, and homeschool. And it's, our country has a buffet of options, but and all of them have their pros and their cons, but homeschooling has many perks, and that's where I would put my thesis. Then my next paragraph would be, I would just take this whole blue paragraph and I would put it right here. Okay? And I probably would add a little more detail since this is an essay and not a paragraph. I would add some more evidence about flexibility, some more illustrations, some personal experience. My next paragraph, starting with the very first sentence, of course, would be, so just to keep you guys following along, the first sentence here would read, homeschooling also allows creativity. And the first sentence here, of course, would have been, it allows flexibility. So let's go on to the third paragraph. And you guessed it, the first sentence of this paragraph would be, homeschooling may increase productivity. And that's going to go right there. And then my fourth paragraph would begin with, lastly. Let me do my little outline. It would say, lastly, homeschooling promotes positivity. And again, I'd probably fill these out a little bit more with some more details. And then I would have a concluding paragraph. And in this paragraph, I would start with, the very first sentence would be this one right here. Because of these things, because of these reasons, homeschooling should be a sought-after option or a viable option. And then I might finish off my essay by talking about the increase in numbers in homeschooling in recent years, and the increase in ease of receiving curriculum and testing, etc., and just kind of give some resources there. So if somebody does take me up, if my essay is convincing, they have the resources they need to move on it. So that would be how we would build a 5-paragraph essay from a paragraph. But there are, like I said, there are a lot of similarities. Both of them are highly organized. Now, I think students struggle the most with the organization of anything else. They just want to put whatever sock they find as it comes to mind in whatever drawer they happen to find themselves writing in at the time. Because, let's just admit, it is hard work to organize. Sometimes you'll think of something here that really should go here. And so to discipline yourself to not allow different colored socks in the wrong sock drawer, all you have to do is do some serious editing and move those things either completely out of your essay or move them to the proper drawer. And so you keep it very clean, where you keep the blue socks in the blue drawer, and you keep the green socks in the green drawer. Keep the yellow socks in the yellow drawer and the red socks in the red drawer. So just make sure you don't get any of these things out of order. Okay, so this week, what I would like for you to do, I really want to hone in on this organization aspect for the sake of learning how to organize an essay. I want you to use my example essay here. You can pause the video and type it out or handwrite it out. Okay, this would not be plagiarism because I'm asking you to do it. But what I want you to do is I want you to transfer this paragraph to a 5-paragraph essay. I want you to write your own introduction, your own conclusion, and I want you to add your own facts to these paragraphs. Maybe you thought of another way to explain an increase in productivity, but I want you to keep the same outline, the same drawers. So when I read your paragraph next week, or your parent, that your thesis right here, which we made purple, right? That thesis, what happened? Let's go back. That thesis should read just like the one we have right here. It should say, homeschooling has many perks, and that should be the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. The first sentence of the very next paragraph must be, it allows flexibility. Now, inside your blue sock drawer, this first paragraph, if you want to add some other details, go right ahead. If you want to take some of my details out, which frankly, there were some things that were not well written. And, I did find a error. I said I didn't use a contraction. Look at that contraction. So take that contraction out when you write yours. So do a better job than I did. This is what editing is all about. This is what writing is all about, is this phase. So I want to see a 5-paragraph essay. I've done the work for you of giving you a topic and the content. It is your job to organize it. For my students, I want it typed out. I want it to look really sharp. So I want you to have a title, the title, unless you want to come up with another creative one. But I want it to have a title, and I want you to put your name up here with the date, okay? Because this is an assignment. And then I want it to look very nice and neat. No color coding on your final draft, though. Just type it out in black and white. You can take highlighters to it once you've printed it, but the one you turn in needs to be just black and white. And that will be our homework for the week. I know I did offer an alternative here. If you want to really go for it and do one completely from scratch, you can try a different topic. So this would be your topic sentence thesis, although since we're transferring it to a 5-paragraph essay, we call it a thesis. It is no longer a topic sentence because it's not at the top of the paragraph, okay? So I'm going to type that out here for the parents. But this is the hard part of writing. We all want to kind of do our own thing and create our own works, but it's not like a piece of art. This really needs to follow the organization rules of writing. So we're going to change the homeschool paragraph into a 5-paragraph. Oh, you know what? I think it was a 6-paragraph essay because we had 4 points. So I'm going to call it a 6-paragraph essay, but normally it's called a 5-paragraph essay. If you want to drop one of the points, you're allowed to. Change the homeschool paragraph into a 5-paragraph essay, typed with a title, your name, date, due. Okay, so this assignment is I'm going to make this a 30-point assignment. Okay, here's why. For each of these assignments, you have 5 points per paragraph. So it would look like this. This is for the parents as well as the students. 5 points. You get a Actually, we're going to make it a 35-point assignment. Let's take off the pen and let's adjust this so we make sure we get it right. And here's why. It'd be 5 points for each paragraph and then 5 points for following our directions for it needs to be typed. That's 1 point. Titled. That's another point. Name, date. Okay, 2 more points. And then the correct topic. And just doing it on topic, 6 paragraphs. That's the 5th point. And then you get 5 paragraphs 5 points per paragraph. And there are 6 paragraphs. So you're looking at the position of the thesis. You're starting with a topic sentence. And this is the intro. This is point 1, body paragraph. Point 2, body paragraph. Point 3, body paragraph. Point 4, body paragraph. And the conclusion, starting with the restatement of the thesis and your own typed out conclusion. Okay, so 5 points per paragraph. And I hope you do a good job with this. This is super important. If you can learn to organize your writing like this, you will do very well all the way through college, okay? So I will see you next week. I hope you have a great week.